God told me to warn up. God is angry. He knows you're not fine, and he wants you to hear this message now. Something inside you paused when you saw this message, and that pause matters more than you realize. There is a reason your attention settled here for a moment instead of moving on. Deep down, beneath the routines, responsibilities, and conversations that fill your days, there has been a feeling you have struggled to explain. You smile when people expect you to smile. You answer questions with, "I'm okay," because it is easier than opening doors you are not sure anyone would understand. Yet somewhere within you, a quiet voice has been asking a question over and over again. When will someone truly see how much I have been carrying? If that question sounds familiar, then stay with this, because this message is not about who you pretend to be when the world is watching. It is about the person you become when you are alone with your thoughts. What many people misunderstand about divine love is that it is not indifferent. It notices every hidden burden, every silent disappointment, every moment when you wanted to speak but chose silence instead. The title of this message speaks of anger, but not in the way people often imagine. This is not about punishment or rejection. It is about a deep, loving frustration that comes from watching someone valuable continue to convince themselves that they must handle everything alone. You have been trying to be strong for so long that you forgot strength was never meant to mean isolation. You have been carrying expectations, worries, and emotional weight that were never designed to stay on your shoulders forever. There is something important here. The message is simple. You are seen more clearly than you think. For a while now, you have sensed that something inside you has been changing, not dramatically, not loudly, quietly, almost invisibly. The things that once excited you do not affect you in the same way anymore. Certain conversations leave you feeling empty. Certain environments no longer fit the person you are becoming. At first, this confused you. You wondered if something was wrong. You questioned your own emotions. But what if the discomfort you feel is not a sign that you are lost? What if it is evidence that you are growing beyond spaces that can no longer contain who you are becoming? Growth rarely announces itself with certainty. Most of the time it arrives disguised as confusion, restlessness, and unanswered questions. And this is where the message begins to reach deeper. The truth is that you have been asking for clarity while still hiding parts of your heart from yourself. You have wanted peace while refusing to admit how exhausted you truly are. You have wanted direction while quietly hoping someone else would make the difficult choices for you. Yet there is an invitation being placed before you right now. Not an invitation to become perfect, not an invitation to have every answer. An invitation to be honest, completely honest. Because the moment honesty enters your heart, everything starts to shift. And what you are about to realize next may explain why certain emotions have been surfacing lately in ways you never expected. Don't miss what comes next. There are moments in life when the noise around you becomes so familiar that you stop noticing how much it is affecting you. You keep moving, keep working, keep showing up, yet somewhere inside, a deeper part of you is waiting for a conversation that never seems to happen. That is where this message meets you today. Not in the public version of your life, but in the quiet place where your real questions live. You may have spent months trying to understand why certain emotions keep returning, why some memories refuse to fade, or why your heart feels caught between holding on and letting go. The answer may be simpler than you think. Sometimes the soul keeps repeating a lesson until the mind is finally ready to hear it. Stay with this, because what you are feeling is not random. You have been more resilient than most people realize. The interesting thing is that resilience often becomes invisible. Others see the calm surface, but they do not see the inner battles that were fought before the smile appeared. They do not see the nights spent thinking about situations you never discussed with anyone. They do not see the times you encouraged others while secretly wishing someone would encourage you. Yet none of those unseen moments have been wasted. Every challenge has been shaping a deeper awareness within you. Every disappointment has been teaching you what truly matters. Even the delays that frustrated you have been creating space for a different kind of understanding. What once looked like an obstacle may eventually reveal itself as preparation. There is also something else you need to recognize. Not every closed door was a loss. Not every unanswered desire was a mistake. Looking back, There are things you wanted desperately that would not fit the person you are becoming today. At the time, you could not see it. You only felt confusion. But wisdom often arrives after the season has passed. The heart naturally focuses on what it did not receive, yet growth often comes through what was withheld as much as through what was given. This realization can feel uncomfortable because it asks you to release old expectations. Still, within that release is a freedom you have been searching for. There's something important here. The path ahead becomes clearer when you stop measuring your worth by outcomes you cannot control. Right now, you may feel as though you are standing between two versions of yourself. One version is familiar, built from old habits, old fears, and old assumptions. The other version feels uncertain because it is still emerging. That transition can be unsettling. It can make you question whether you are moving forward at all. But transformation rarely feels comfortable while it is happening. The caterpillar does not understand the butterfly while it is still inside the process. In the same way, you may not fully understand the purpose of this season until later. What matters is that you continue listening to the quiet truth within you instead of the loud doubts around you. Because in the next part, we need to talk about the hidden reasons certain people and situations have been affecting you more deeply than before, and what that reveals about the change already taking place inside your heart. Have you noticed how certain words seem to stay with you long after they are spoken, while others disappear almost instantly? That is not an accident. Recently, you may have found yourself reacting differently to people, situations, and emotions that once felt easy to manage. Small moments suddenly carry more weight. Casual conversations leave deeper impressions. Even ordinary experiences seem to awaken thoughts you did not expect. The reason is not that you are becoming overly sensitive. The reason is that your awareness is expanding. You are beginning to notice truths that you once ignored, and once awareness grows, it becomes impossible to return to the version of yourself that could overlook what your heart now understands. Stay with this because this realization changes everything. One of the greatest struggles you have faced has been the desire to be understood without fully revealing what is happening inside you. Part of you longs for connection, yet another part remains cautious. You want people to see the real you, but you also fear being misunderstood, judged, or disappointed. This inner tension has followed you longer than you realize. It influences your decisions, your relationships, and even the way you speak about your dreams. Yet the message reaching you today is gently asking you to consider something different. What if your greatest strength is not found in hiding your feelings perfectly? What if it is found in allowing yourself to be honest about what matters to you? There's something important here. Authenticity often feels risky before it feels freeing. The changes happening within you are also affecting the people around you. Some individuals are naturally drawn toward the peace, wisdom, or maturity that is growing inside you. Others may seem distant or difficult to understand lately. Neither response is necessarily good or bad. It simply reflects the reality that growth changes relationships. When you evolve internally, the dynamics around you begin to shift as well. This can feel lonely at times because you are no longer the same person who accepted certain patterns without question. Yet loneliness and transformation often travel together for a season. The important thing is not to mistake temporary discomfort for failure. Many of the answers you seek are already forming beneath the surface, even if you cannot see them clearly yet. And here is the deeper truth that has been quietly waiting for your attention. The exhaustion you have been feeling is not only physical, it comes from carrying expectations that no longer belong to you. For too long, you have measured yourself against standards that were created by fear, comparison, or the desire to please everyone around you. But your heart has been trying to guide you towards something simpler and more honest. It has been asking you to stop performing and start listening, to stop chasing approval and start recognizing your own value. Don't miss what comes next, because the next part explores the moment when everything begins to shift, not because your circumstances suddenly change, but because the way you see yourself finally starts to transform. There comes a quiet turning point in every life, and strangely, it rarely looks dramatic when it first arrives. It often begins with a single realization, a moment when you finally become tired of carrying stories about yourself that were never true. You may have spent years believing you had to earn acceptance, prove your worth, or constantly demonstrate your value before you could feel at peace. Yet something within you has been awakening to a different understanding. The more you grow, the more you recognize that your value was never created by achievements, opinions, or comparisons. It was already there. It always was. The challenge has never been becoming worthy. The challenge has been learning to see yourself through a clearer lens. As this understanding settles into your heart, old fears begin to lose their influence. Not overnight, and not all at once, but gradually. The fear of being left behind, the fear of disappointing others, the fear of making the wrong choice. These fears once seemed powerful because they shaped so many of your decisions. Yet lately, you may have noticed something changing. Certain worries no longer control you the way they once did. Certain voices no longer carry the same authority. This is not because life has become perfect. It is because your perspective is shifting. There's something important here. True growth is not the absence of uncertainty. It is the ability to move forward even when uncertainty remains. You have also been learning an important lesson about waiting. For a long time, waiting felt like standing still. It felt like being forgotten while everyone else moved ahead. But now you are beginning to understand that waiting and growing are not the same thing. Some of the most meaningful changes happen during seasons that appear quiet from the outside. While you thought nothing was happening, your patience was deepening. Your awareness was expanding. Your heart was becoming stronger and wiser. Looking back one day, you may discover that the seasons you wanted to escape were actually preparing you for the peace you were seeking. The process was working even when you could not see it. And now you stand closer to clarity than you realize. The message that began with intensity is leading you somewhere much gentler than you expected. It is leading you toward honesty, self-understanding, and a renewed trust in the path ahead. You do not need to have every answer today. You do not need to solve every question at once. What matters is that you stop fighting against your own growth and start recognizing the quiet transformation already taking place within you. Don't miss what comes next, because in the final part, everything comes together. The pieces that seemed disconnected will reveal a deeper meaning, and you may finally understand why this message found you exactly when it did.